Have you ever opened a novel, read the first page, and immediately thought, okay, I need to know what happens next, or the opposite? You open a book, read a few lines, and quietly close it. Yeah, that moment. That's the power of the first chapter. And today we are going to talk about how to write one that works. Hello, I'm Unnati and I'm a book editor and a ghostwriter. And on this channel, I talk about books, writing, and the publishing world. And if you're a writer, specifically a first time writer, this is something you are probably struggled with. How do I start? Where do I begin? What do I include? How do I make it good enough? So today I'm going to break it down for you clearly, honestly, and in a way that helps you write. So let's get started. So the very first point is relax. No one gets it right. A lot of writers don't do is they don't relax when they're writing their first chapter. This is one of the most tips which writers need to hear, that your first chapter is not supposed to be perfect. In fact, it almost never is. Even experienced authors rewrite their opening chapters multiple times, sometimes even dozen of times. Your first draft, that's just you jumping into the sandbox. The real shaping comes late. So if you are stuck because you want the perfect opening, stop. Write something, anything. Because writing a novel isn't about getting it perfect the first time. It's about getting it done and then making it better. The second thing, the first line. Create curiosity. That's really important, right? But here is the truth. Your line, the first line, it matters. But not as much as you think in the beginning. You can always come later and refine. But when you do focus on it, here is what it should do. It should make the reader feel something like, oh, wait, what? I need to read the next line. These are the things which shall come into your reader's mind. Curiosity is everything. Like, we can take this famous line from Fahrenheit's 451. It was a pleasure to burn. It's simple, but it raises questions instantly. Or from The Hobbit, we can take it. In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. You don't know what a hobbit is yet, but you want to, right? That's the goal. Not perfection, just curiosity. The third thing is that you need to keep the first paragraph alive and very clear. If your first line opens the door, your first paragraph invites the reader inside. But here's what many writers go wrong. They try to do too much. When I say too much, I literally means too much. They give long description, complex explanation, backstory overload, and the readers get legit lost. So instead, keep your opening paragraph clear, focused, and keep them short and keep them very simple. Yeah, that's very important, because the reader need to feel something. It could be an image, a very strong image, a strong emotion, a relatable sensation, something they can see or experience. Because readers don't fall in love with information, they fall in love with the experience. So it really matters what experience you are showing to them. The fourth thing is, make us care about the character. You can have the most brilliant plot in the world, but if readers don't care about your character, they won't keep reading. So your first chapter has one major job, and that is to take care about your protagonist. Not necessarily like them, we should care. The reader should care about them. The reader should want to know what they will do next, what they are thinking, what happens to them. If you're writing in first person, we are inside their head. If you're writing in third person, we are watching them move through the world. Either way, give them personality early, very early. Let us conclude the three things which we talked about: their fear, habits, and their contradiction. Because connection is what pulls the readers forward. The fifth thing you need to know is that you need to start your world, but just don't dump it, right? Specifically fantasy writer. World building is very important, I understand that. Here is what writers often make a mistake. They try to explain everything immediate: history, politics, magic systems, rule of the world, and suddenly your novel feels like a textbook. Instead, think of your story like iceberg. The reader only see a small part at first, the rest is revealed gradually. Yes, you should know your world before writing, but don't show everything at once. Instead, sprinkle details naturally through actions, dialogue, small conversation. Let the readers discover the world. That's far more engaging. Okay, you can add maps, diagrams to make it easy for the reader to understand them and get into the story. The sixth thing is, set the tone and stick to it. The first chapter is something sets an expectation, and reader unconsciously trusted expectation. So ask yourself, what kind of story am I telling? Is it dark and eerie, light and romantic, fast-paced and thrilling? Because if your opening feels like horror and suddenly the book turns into a soft romance, that disconnect will throw readers off completely. Tone isn't just about mood, it's about consistency. And your first chapter is where that begins. The seventh thing is that you need to establish the narrative voice. Voice is one of the most underrated element in writing, but it is also one of the most powerful. Your reader should quickly understand who is telling this story. If it's first person, what kind of person is this narrator? Are they honest? Are they hiding something? And if it's in third person, how close are we to the character? What's the narrative style? A strong voice builds trust, and ultimately an unreliable voice builds even more suspense. Eighth thing is hint at conflict or change. Here's the thing, a peaceful, normal world is fine, but readers don't keep reading for normal. They read for change. So your first chapter should hint at something is about to go wrong, something is about to change. That doesn't mean explosions or dramatic scenes. It can be subtle. Something like this. A strange moment, a feeling that something isn't right, small disruption. This is where good ideas come in. You plant something early and it matters later. Conflict can be external, another person, a situation, internal, fear, doubt, insecurity. And honestly, internal conflict is often the most powerful. The ninth thing is rewrite after the end. This is something beginners don't expect, but it is one of the most powerful tips which I can give you. Rewrite your first chapter after finishing your novel, because by then you understand your story better, your characters have evolved, your ending is clear, and your opening needs to reflect the journey. A great novel often feels like a circle. The beginning and ending connect in subtle ways, but you can only do that once you know how the story ends. So you need to look at all of that from a bird eye view. So my last tip is inspiration from great openings. If you're stuck, read great first chapters. For example, The Martian, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, or powerful opening lines like From Pride and Prejudice, It's a Truth Universally Acknowledged, or from The Color Purple, You Better Not Ever Tell Nobody About God. Notice something, they're all different. There is no single formula. If you remember one thing from this video, let it be this: writing is editing. Your first chapter will change. It should change. That's not failure. That's the process. So stop waiting for the perfect beginning. Start writing, because no one can tell your story the way you can. If you found this helpful, I would love to know what are you struggling with right now in your writing. First chapter, characters, plot. Tell me in the comments. If you're into book writing and publishing, subscribe, because we are going to talk a lot about this in the upcoming videos. Bye-bye.